All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. And it is that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of college football as far as my key games go. And I've got plenty to talk about key games for this week. Why? Because we are starting to get into conference play, and it's separation time for a lot of these teams, and we're really about to see what they're made of as far as being contenders for the college football playoff. Now, I want to start off with a Big 12 battle on Saturday as you have 17th ranked Texas Tech traveling to Salt Lake City to take on 16th ranked Utah. And of course, this is the Big 12 opener for both of these clubs. You look at this game, the Utes come in favored by 2.5 points at Rice Echo Stadium. But Texas Tech is going to be very formidable. I like the way that this team is playing so far this season with quarterback Barrett Morton, running back Adam Hill, and wide receiver Coy Eakin. And then the Red Raiders are playing some D, and they're going to be tested in this one, okay? But nonetheless, keep an eye out for linebackers Jacob Rodriguez as well as David Bailey and Bryce Pollock in that secondary. But of course, Utah is looking to hold serve on their home field, and they're looking to make some noise of their own this year in the Big 12. And usually, when you think about the Utes, it's a physical, running attack on offense with likes of quarterback Devin Dampier and running back Wayshawn Parker. And then defensively, will John Henry Daly be able to neutralize this pass game with his ability to get to the quarterback? That's going to be important. Also, keep an eye out for safety Jackson Benny for the Utes in this one. Utah is always a tough place to play for the road opponents, but I'm going to go the other way here. I think Texas Tech goes to Salt Lake City and makes a statement. This I'm going to take the Red Raiders by 2 touchdowns, 34-20. Now you've got Arkansas traveling to take on Memphis, and for the Razorbacks, they come into this contest favored by 7.5 points, and are also looking to bounce back from last Saturday's loss to Ole Miss. This Memphis defense, they've got to try to find a way to contain dual threat quarterback Taylon Green because he can beat you with his legs. Uh, you can make a case even better than he can with his arm. Okay, you look at this Arkansas offense with wide receiver Omega Blake, as well as running back Mike Washington Jr. And then I like the way that Xavier Sori at linebacker is playing for the Hogs this year. For Memphis, this, make no mistake about it, is a huge test. Brendan Lewis, what's he going to be able to do against this Arkansas defense? And will Quincy Rhodes be able to put the pressure on him from Arkansas? You've got running back Sutton Smith for the Tigers, as well as wide receiver Jamari Hawkins to keep an eye out for. And then defensively, with the likes of DeMarco Ward in the secondary, as well as linebacker Sam Brumfield. Like I said, Arkansas comes into this game favored by 7.5. You look at Memphis, and Memphis, they're going to be in the mix to once again win the American, but I don't think that they have what it takes to knock off this SEC team this Saturday. Thus, I'm going to take the Razorbacks on the road, 34-27. Now, getting to the ACC, you've got Syracuse traveling to take on Clemson, and of course, Clemson comes in favored by 16.5 points at home, but the Tigers, they're looking to silence their critics right now. They're 1-2, lost a heartbreaker last Saturday at the hands of Georgia Tech, and of course, people are already trying to write off Clemson. I'll tell you like this: Clemson, I still think they're going to be in the mix to win the ACC. Do they have to play better? Absolutely. It starts with their offense. Cade Klubnik, the quarterback, has not played well so far this season. That is going to have to change. Clemson has the talent to get it done offensively with the likes of Adam Randall at running back and, of course, Bryant Westcott at wide receiver. Love this Clemson defense, led by defensive end Will Helt and, of course, linebacker Wade Woodaz. Will they be able to slow down the Syracuse offense? We've got to wait and see. But nonetheless, speaking of Syracuse, their head coach Fran Brown really has his finger on the pulse of this team, of course, after the overtime win a couple of weeks ago against Connecticut. We saw a different Syracuse team last Saturday against Colgate, and that was after they had to run gassers literally immediately after beating Connecticut. Steve Angeli looks like he is settling in as quarterback for the Cuse. He's going to have to do it against a tough Clemson defense, and keep an eye out for wide receiver Darnell or Darrell Gill Jr. Like I said before, Fran Brown has his finger on the pulse of this team, and Fran Brown is going to have his team ready to play on Saturday. Clemson's a 16.5 point favorite. I'm going with the under. I'm going to take the Tigers by a touchdown, 27-20. Now, moving ahead to the SEC, you've got 22nd ranked Auburn traveling to Norman to take on 11th ranked Oklahoma. The Sooners come into this game favored by 7.5, and of course, it's the SEC opener for a pair of teams who want to put a bad 2024 behind them. Auburn and Oklahoma were tied for 13th in the Southeastern Conference a year ago. And of course, this game has been circled for a long time in the calendar by a lot of people, as it's the return of quarterback Jackson Arnold to Norman. Surprisingly, Jackson Arnold decided to transfer after last season, as he looked like he was ready to be the next guy at Oklahoma. But nonetheless, I'm sure that the welcome mat, if you will, is not going to be really rolled out for Jackson Arnold in his return. I look at this Oklahoma defense. Will they be able to make Jackson Arnold uncomfortable? That is going to be the key. There's talent on this Auburn offense with the likes of running back Jeremiah Cobb and wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr. Things look a little bit different for Brent Venables in Oklahoma so far this season. John Mateer, he's had his ups and downs at quarterback, but I think as this season progresses, he's really going to settle in with a perfect time then this Saturday for him to really get it going. I like running back Torrey Blaylock for Oklahoma, as well as tight end Jaron Kanik, as well as wide receiver Deion Burks. Back and forth affair, but I think Oklahoma gets it done late, and I'm going to take the Sooners 30-24. Now you've got Tulane traveling to take on 13th ranked Ole Miss, and as Tulane is looking to go on the road and pull off the upset, the BYU transfer at quarterback, Jake Retzliff, is going to have a big game, as will a wide receiver like Amari Haynes. Defensively, I like what the Green Wave are bringing with linebacker Dixon Agu and Javion White in that secondary. But it looks like the Lane train is going to keep on rolling in this one. He's got himself a healthy Austin Simmons now at quarterback. I like the running ability of Keywan Lacey, as well as the catching ability of wide receiver Harrison Wallace III. Also, keep an eye out for linebacker TJ Dottery of the Rebels in this one. Ole Miss is favored by 13.5. I'm going to take them by 10 in this game, 30-20. Now in the Big Ten, you have the 21st ranked Wolverines out of Michigan traveling to Lincoln to take on Nebraska. The Wolverines come into this contest favored by 1.5 in spite of the fact that they are the road team. And yes, this is the Big Ten opener for both of these clubs. And you have to wonder, is this going to be the year where everything comes together for Nebraska and they finally get back to being one of the upper echelon teams in the Big Ten? For Nebraska to win this game, it starts with their quarterback, Dylan Raiola. Came in with a lot of hype. He's taken his bumps and bruises along the way, but this kid is getting better, and this is going to be a huge test for the young Dylan Raiola against this Wink Martindale-led defense. Nebraska's going to have to run the football as well with the likes of running back Emmett Johnson to open up things for wide receiver Dane Key. Michigan's going to keep it physical. You know that, with Bryce Underwood at quarterback and as well as Justin Haynes at running back, and this physical defense, which includes linebacker Ernest Hausman. I think this is going to be a paint swapping affair. Nebraska is going to have to do that if they want to beat Michigan. The first team to 20 wins, and I'm going to give the Cornhuskers the benefit of the doubt at home by the score of 23-20. Now you've got Purdue traveling to South Bend to take on 24th ranked Notre Dame. And in spite of the fact that the Irish are 0-2, they still are ranked this season. So you just have to wonder if this is going to be the game where they get it done. Vegas thinks so because Notre Dame is favored by 25 and a half points in this game. The offense has been there for Notre Dame. The bottom line is their defense has got to step up. They just gave up 41 points at home last Saturday to Texas A&M, and that was after Notre Dame came off of their bye. So for linebacker Drake Bowen and company, the onus is on them. I think Notre Dame's going to get it done on offense with the likes of Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love at running back, and of course C.J. Carr at quarterback is not playing like a redshirt freshman so far. But on the flip side, I know that Purdue, they're heavy underdogs, but Barry Odom and company are going to make Notre Dame pack a lunch in this one. You've got the veteran running back Devin Mockabee. What is quarterback Ryan Brown going to do in this one? Those are going to be some keys right there for me for the Boilermakers. They're going to keep it close, but Notre Dame pulls away late. I like the Irish by the score of 34-20. Now, another in-state battle as you have Florida traveling to take on fourth ranked Miami. And for the Canes, they come into this game favored by 7.5 points. You got to wonder if Florida just simply running, if they are simply running into a buzzsaw because that brutal schedule for the Gators continues. They just traveled to Death Valley last Saturday night. They lost to LSU, and now you've got to travel to Miami to take on the Hurricanes. Bottom line is Florida's got to score some points because they're not giving up a lot defensively. But you look at the Gators; they've only scored 16 or 26 points rather over their last two games, and of course they lost both of those games. DJ Lagway at quarterback has to play better. He threw 5 interceptions last week, and even with that said, the Gators were still in that game. So ball security from the young Lagway is going to be important here. Florida can run the football with the likes of Jaden Bond, and I like Bow, and I like Vernell Brown at wide receiver going up against this Miami secondary. Now, on the flip side for the Hurricanes, of course, new quarterback, somebody that the Gators are very familiar with in Carson Beck from his time at Georgia. But Miami, under head coach Mario Cristobal, can run the football themselves. Keep an eye out for running back Mark Fletcher in this one, as well as wide receiver Malachi Toney in the pass game. And I think the thing for me is, if you're Miami and you're watching the game film or you've watched the game film from last week for Florida against Louisiana State, can you go out there and make DJ Lagway uncomfortable? That's going to be the key for me. Miami's favored by 7.5. I'm going to take them by 10 in this one. I say Miami 27, Florida 17. Now, in the Big Ten, a battle of ranked teams as you have ninth ranked Illinois traveling to Bloomington to take on 19th ranked Indiana. The Hoosiers come into this contest favored by 6.5 points as they're looking to start things off right in the Big Ten slate as they want to get back to the college football playoff. Both of these teams have their eyes set on trying to get there. No more cupcakes for Indiana because we've seen them beat up on the little sisters of the poor during the non-conference slate. Not going to be that way now that the Big Ten schedule is here. Quarterback Fernando Mendoza, the former Cal quarterback, what is he going to do in this contest for the Hoosiers? You also have Kalen Black at running back as well as wide receiver Omar Cooper. On the flip side for the Illini and Brett Bielema, you've got yourself a veteran quarterback in Luke Altmaier. You know that the Illini are going to run the football under Brett Bielema, so you got to keep an eye out for Caden Fagan in this one. I like this Illinois defense led by outside linebacker Gabe Jacobs. Like I said, the Hoosiers are favored by 6.5 points at home, but I like the Illini in this one. I'm going to take Illinois 27-24. Now, another Big Ten showdown. You have Michigan State traveling west to take on 25th ranked USC. And for the men of Troy, they come into this contest favored by 18.5 points at home. Now, of course, Michigan State head coach Jonathan Smith is very familiar with USC from his time as the head coach at Oregon State. For Michigan State to go out there and pull off the upset because they're an 18.5 point underdog as of right now. Aiden Childs had to play the best game of his life. You have talent on this Michigan State offense with wide receiver Nick Marsh as well as running back Mekhi Frazier. Linebacker Jordan Hall and company, can they find a way to slow down this USC offense? That's going to be the key. And you got to wonder, is USC for real this year? They did not live up to expectations last year. They're flying under the radar. Remember, they began this season unranked and now they're ranked in the top 25. Will the Trojans continue to trend upward under head coach Lincoln Riley this year? I think first things first for this game, I want to see what quarterback Jaden Mayava does against this Michigan State defense. I like what USC has on offense with running back Waymon Jordan as well as wide receiver Makai Lemon. And yes, the Trojans are playing some defense so far this season. Keep an eye out for safety Bishop Fitzgerald as well as linebacker Eric Gentry. I like USC in this one, 38-27. And finally, in the Mountain West, you've got Fresno State traveling as far west as you basically can in the United States to take on Hawaii. Now, the Bulldogs come into this contest favored by 2.5 points on the road. And of course, this is the Mountain West opener for two teams who had strong non-conference campaigns. It's been an up and down year so far at quarterback for Fresno State quarterback E.J. Warner, of course, the son of Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner. He's going to have to, secure the football and not turn it over in this one. I like running back Bryson Donaldson of Fresno State as well as linebacker Jaden Pearson. Hawaii, under head coach Timmy Chang, you know that they're going to sling the football with quarterback Luke Weaver. Keep an eye out for wide receiver Pofeli Ashlock in this game. Defensively, the Warriors can get to the quarterback with the likes of Jackie Johnson. Will this Fresno State offensive line be able to deal with him? We've got to wait and see. I like Hawaii to hold serve at home in this one by the score of 37-30. So, folks, those are my picks for my key games for this Saturday in the world of college football. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. Like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Definitely check out this channel this weekend as I'll have plenty to say following the action on Saturday in the world of college football. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, I will give you that follow in return. And the same goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, you can definitely check us out at the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.